Same starting five for both teams that we saw yesterday in the quarterfinals. Who are a couple players that you're really looking at? And the Huskies control the tip. A little excitement on the jump.
How about this crowd? UConn fans rolling deep. They've been here for hours.
Lopez Senechal gets them started.
And that's just embodies what she's been all season. Steady. Just gets them off on the right tone. A nice calm mid-range pull-up for Lou.
A unanimous first-team selection. And her first and only season transferring over from Fairfield. Dump down to Karlen. And she puts it off the window.
Yeah, great high-low look from Chloe Murata at the top. Liza Karlen did have a bit of a mismatch inside, able to get that position.
Lopez Senechal, that's a three.
And she's such a versatile scorer. We're seeing that in her opening two buckets. A mid-range pull-up and then dialing it up from three, running off the screen with effectiveness.
And an offensive foul gives it back to UConn. Gino Auriemma told us and gave us a little bit of insight into what it's like coaching and playing for a UConn team. That he said, you lose one game and it's shocking. You lose two games, it's earth-shattering. That's a lot of pressure to play with night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a different season, but you still consider they're 26-5. They win the Big East. It's just been so rare for them in recent years to lose a game, let alone a conference game. But I heard Megan Duffy say it in her post-game yesterday. Everybody knows that UConn is a different team once the calendar switches to March.
Juhasz step through. They're also a different team when they have 10 active players.
Back-to-back possessions, Matt. You're seeing the size of UConn, where Marquette guards have been able to get into the paint, deep in the paint, but they're being met with high hands and a lot of size.
Aaliyah Edwards, one of those with size at 6'3", and a timeout taken by Megan Duffy. A 7-0 UConn run. There is Caroline Ducharme. Went down midway through the quarterfinal win over Georgetown yesterday. And a much-needed bucket for the freshman. La Chapelle, the first bucket in almost 3 minutes for Marquette. Rebound Edwards. Nika Muhl. And Chloe Murata picks up the defensive rebound. She has yet to take a shot in this game.
Yeah, we're seeing the impact of the bigs, now the perimeter players. Aubrey Griffin on the steal.
And then Edwards spinning to the bucket is Murata on another 2-minute scoring drought. And Nkumu promptly ends that with a three, the first of the game for the Golden Eagles.
And it would greatly benefit Marquette to get some things going from the perimeter because of the size that's waiting on penetration in the paint with Juhasz and Edwards. That'll get them to open things up and space the floor.
Aubrey Griffin. Juhasz on a drive, using her body to muscle Liza Karlen out of the way.
Yeah, she's really embraced the versatility, her skill set this season at 6'5". Somebody who can shoot the three, somebody who can take it off the dribble as she did there. Not a lot of players can have that combination of skill and size.
Karlen pops out and drills it from the free throw line.
Great adjustment from Jordan King, who had gone in deep in the paint, had her shot altered earlier in the quarter, but that time comes to a jump stop and finds somebody open after the collapsed defense.
Edwards scoops it up, and it's
Gino Auriemma post-game yesterday talking about how her fitness level is so much more improved this season.
Nika Muhl, blow by and draws a foul. 2 shots coming for the all-time assist leader in a single season for UConn. And what a season for Nika Muhl. Her assists in a single season. Actually got a FaceTime from Sue Bird out of the blue. Nika Muhl said, I usually don't answer unknown FaceTime calls, but I'm glad I answered that one.
Oh, wow. She didn't even have the number stored. That was a risk, but a pretty good reward on the other end.
The size differential in the post. Karlen pops out and puts in a three. Averaging 17 points per game over the last 4. Has really come on strong at the back end of this season as Juhasz tries a triple and hits. How about that for a response? Picked up by Fudd. Karlen scoops it. There was not a change of possession there, so 8 on the timer. Hare, fade away. And the shot clock turned off to end the quarter. Easy Fudd. Second game back since January 15th. 1 second. And a well-defended set to close the quarter by Marquette.
She's found success in that mid-range area. She keeps things simple. She has a simple turnaround jumper. I think that's where she's going to have to do a lot of her production today and stay out of the paint a little bit. You see Aaliyah Edwards is matched up with her. She's going to have to get some space.
And an offensive foul gives it back to UConn. Forced Megan Duffy to go with a tighter rotation than she would have liked. Edwards spinning it down. Marquette in some need of a little bit of offense here. Down 10. And shooting less than 36% from the floor.
And everything is contested right now for Marquette.
Uncontested three buried by Lopez Senechal.
And what's hurting Marquette right now is they can't stop UConn on the inside. Yeah, it's really been 2 straight seasons like this for UConn where people are coming in and out of the lineup, people are getting back, but it's forcing other players to have to step up in different roles.
Second chance here for Marquette. King knocks down her first. A deep three. Murata on the bench with 2 fouls. Fudd at 3. And the rebound, Griffin. Fudd creating space. Ducharme trying to save it. They only played 7 players yesterday. Kennedy Miles and Mackenzie Hare, the only 2 who came in off the bench. Micaiah Williams getting her first minutes of the tournament, and we're still 6 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, and it's a big spot to come in with a heavy UConn crowd here, the top seed, and UConn playing very well, applying a ton of pressure on the defensive end.
King with 5. King, offensive foul.
How about the center? Aaliyah Edwards even praising her on the offensive end.
Already 6 turnovers for a Marquette team that averages less than 13 a game. And right back the other way, an offensive foul. It goes against Nika Muhl.
That's how you get over 1,000 career wins, I guess. You're never satisfied.
Hare rattles in a triple. Megan Duffy said her and LaChapelle, the 2 freshmen, played a little bit timid in the first game of the Big East tournament. Travel, so back-to-back trips with a turnover for UConn.
Making UConn feel a bit more uncomfortable than they were to start the game. Now can they find and generate some more offense, especially with Chloe Murata on the bench with 2 fouls.
LaChapelle, backdoor, Karlen with the reverse.
Karlen has really moved well without the basketball. Now a couple of times she's snuck behind the defense and gotten the steal.
An 8-0 Marquette run. The ball will stay on this side. 8-0 run. And to your point, defensively, Kim, they've held this UConn team scoreless over the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's been an adjustment on this end of the floor. UConn just 2 of 7 from the field to start this second quarter. And this is a Marquette team as Dorka Juhasz finally ends that spell. But this is a Marquette team, regardless of what's going on offensively, has always been able to rely on their defense.
Griffin having a terrific first half. Scooping loose balls, creating turnovers defensively.
She really can do some special things. It was like that ball was just a magnet into her hands.
6'1", plays a lot bigger than that. Lopez Senechal zips it to Edwards, who pays it off. And Edwards in double figures with 10.
Edwards continues to assert herself, going up strong with 100%. As Marquette gets called for another moving screen. Over to Aaliyah Edwards, who's already up to 10 points. I've been so impressed with the aggression, the approach she has come out with.
And now some foul trouble. Chloe Murata called for her third. Back on the floor for maybe 5 seconds.
Diving after loose balls. Chloe Murata right back to the bench.
You had to take that gamble, right? She scored in double figures in 10 straight with 4 double-doubles.
And I think it's really more about defending Edwards, who's just having a field day inside right now. Chloe Murata, their best interior defender. And you could tell, oof, she's not happy.
The lone graduating senior on this Marquette team in her 5th year. First time being named to the All-Big East first team. As Lopez Senechal makes them both. And just like that, it's back to an 11-point UConn lead. 6-0 run for the Huskies over the last 57 seconds. Karlen hits a deep 2. 11 points on 5 of 5.
Yeah, she's been the steadying force for them, the player they can rely on. Hasn't missed a shot, but they're going to need some other pieces to step up.
LaChapelle had a shot altered by Edwards. And the 6'3" frame of the junior from Ontario. And now they give it down to her.
It is Aaliyah Edwards' afternoon right now. Taking no prisoners. Not settling. She has her teammates fired up.
As it poked away by Karlen. Here comes King. Almost walked. And a tie-up will keep it on this side of the floor.
A foul is called there.
So it wasn't a tie-up, it was a foul, and that's part of why Gino is a little bit upset. First foul on Aubrey Griffin. UConn in the bonus the rest of the way in this half. Still 3 fouls to give, and an offensive foul against Marquette.
Just extending those arms. You obviously have to be perfectly still when setting a screen, especially if you've already been whistled for it twice in the game.
Rebound Griffin, put back, yes, and the foul.
He's getting the recognition, the accolades, the stat sheet categories. Let's see if they can isolate something for her to get to the basket.
Here she is, rejected by Juhasz. And the size differential too. Juhasz at 6'5", Karlen at 6'2", Juhasz with the rebound. The Huskies can effectively hold for the final shot of the half here. Edwards with 10. Now Fudd. Juhasz last touched it for UConn.
Rosenkumo, though, a pretty quick player. Let's see if she can get something up quickly.
And Kumu with 1. And Kumu left it short. And the Huskies end the first half on a 12-2 run. Chloe Murata, though, only played 15 seconds in the second quarter, and now she's in to start the second half with 3 fouls.
And I think the silver lining in this situation for Marquette is they were in this exact situation yesterday against St. John's. Chloe Murata came back and had a big-time second half, and the freshman, Emily LaChapelle, with the pretty mid-range to get some momentum out of the locker room.
That ends a 3.5-minute scoring drought dating back to the end of the first half. Juhasz was fouled.
But it's concerning. Liza Karlen now having to come out of the game with 3 fouls. Both of their best post defenders with 3. Lopez Senechal picking right back up. How smooth is she?
As smooth as the crowd cheering Lou after every made shot by Lopez Senechal, the transfer from Fairfield. For everyone outside of this UConn program, nobody had really heard of her. She was the MAC Player of the Year last year. Gino Auriemma said, though, she belongs at this level, and she's showing it.
And she's taken on such a greater role. Dorka Juhasz back to doing her thing on the offensive glass. But when Lopez Senechal came here, she thought she would just be another piece.
Muhl, pick 6, and a timeout, Megan Duffy.
We'll have to get back to that thought because the UConn Huskies have come out of the gates firing.
You heard Gino Auriemma talk about it with Megan going to the halftime break. He loves what they've been able to do in the paint. They've outscored Marquette 24-6 in the second half. He wants to see a little bit more perimeter scoring. Certainly, Smooth Lou gives him a little bit of that.
And you're really seeing the dangerous balance that UConn possesses today with the inside-out game. Everybody is clicking.
King knocks it in, a deep 2. Just her second made bucket of the contest.
And they would love to get her going. Matt, off the top, we talked about King and Murata had 37 points in that win over UConn about a month ago. They've been held pretty much at bay this afternoon.
Those two have combined for 5 points. Murata still scoreless as Griffin drills a 3. Home run pass to Juhasz. Lopez Senechal right to the basket. Here is Nika Muhl. Blow by. Yes, sir. And the clock stopped momentarily because Lopez Senechal is doubled over. It almost looks like she had the wind knocked out of her a little bit. Doubled over on the ground. The play stopped.
So hopefully a minimal injury as Mackenzie Hare knocks down a 3.
The good news for UConn is Lopez Senechal still on the bench. And Aaliyah Edwards continues her dominant performance. 7 of 10 from the floor with 14. And wins it back for UConn. 14 points for her tonight in 18 minutes. Griffin. Nifty.
And I do have to shout out, she's from Ossining High School in my neck of the woods. They were big rivals of us. Westchester, New York.
Murata's first bucket of the game. She had 19 in the win against UConn back in February. Relegated to just 15 seconds on the floor in the second quarter because of 3 fouls.
And that short corner is the spot where she can really get it going. She was effective from there yesterday in the quarterfinals. Griffin with another board.
Edwards. And walked.
A really impressive performance yesterday. Has come out with that same energy today. Has been unstoppable.
And she's helped this UConn team outscore Marquette 32-6 in the paint. And defensively, they've continued to frustrate Murata and King, who have combined for far less than they scored in the first win against this program back in February. As Azzi Fudd is on the board here in the third. Kumu. Karlen back on the floor with 3 fouls. She has been the bright spot.
I think that's something they need to look to do more of.
Edwards draws a foul. against Murata. 2 shots coming. Edwards a little bit slow to get up here for a player who is averaging a double-double. 34 points in the quarterfinal yesterday. A win over St. John's. King on the drive. Sent out of bounds by Griffin.
Almost purposely letting Jordan King get half a step in front of her so that she can come from behind and block it without her body getting in the way to foul.
Juhasz, the 5th block for UConn this afternoon. Counted and one.
You said that, and I've never really heard a coach say that about postseason. Me personally, I always think it's in the hands of the guards to get you going, but for him, he said it's always been about the forwards, and these two have really answered the call.
Juhasz a double-double. Edwards a double-double. Final 10 seconds of the quarter. Five seconds. Muhl at midcourt. (61-36) all Huskies. Inside to Griffin, draws a foul. Why do you think you have more internationals this year than maybe in years past? Part of it is the transfer portal, right? Players like Dorka, Juhasz, Lopez Senechal coming from a different program first, now more than ever, and more internationals want to come play collegiately here in the States.
That's really interesting. Take Lou Lopez to the Eiffel Tower.
Wine country. Maybe we should book a trip. Here's Nika Muhl, slips it past Dorka. Juhasz, not something many people have been able to do tonight. 5 blocks for this UConn Huskies defense. A cutting Ducharme. Yes! Off the window. After missing the second half yesterday with an apparent injury, back on the floor for UConn.
Yeah, great to see her back out there. I'm sure a little bit of a sense of relief just to get that rhythm and that bucket after going down hard yesterday.
Murata off the bounce. And really struggled to get around the outstretched arms of the 6'3" Griffin.
What an elite defender she is. Her combination of size, skill, athleticism, length.
Muhl, count it, and one.
Nika Muhl, we know her for her ability to assist, but she's really been able to attack and find pockets in this Marquette defense. And she's always fired up. Look at the connectivity of this group. It seems like it's on another level today.
I was just going to ask you about that. Their largest lead now at 30. Five to shoot. Hare trying to wiggle free and draws a foul. These will be the first free throw attempts of the game for Marquette.
Has knocked down 3 triples, nice ball handling skills, some excitement there for Megan Duffy with the young core she has.
Now this will be the second straight year that Marquette falls to UConn in the semifinal. But they've had a valiant effort. They beat this UConn team for the first time in program history a little over a month ago. And as we were talking about earlier, Kim, I think that win, for me anyway, solidified that this team deserves to be in the big dance. Rebound Edwards, 18 points, along with 12 boards.
And watching Aaliyah Edwards the last 2 nights, what impresses me is how she continues. Okay, I was going to say go up for boards, but she's going up for another bucket. Their success depends on her grabbing each individual board.
Betancourt now on the floor for the first time today for UConn. Wearing number 21 as Griffin goes underneath and reverses it off the glass.
The win over UConn going back early in the season, defeated Texas, who was third at the time, nearly won that Battle for Atlantis tournament.
Marquette narrowly missed the NCAA tournament last year, and they had a case for it last year. They went 23-11, 13-7, and instead made a run to the WNIT Sweet 16. Looking to get to their first NCAA tournament since the 2020-21 season. All Big East first teamer frustrated, as so many Marquette Golden Eagles have been this afternoon, by this swarming UConn defense. Just 2 of 15 came today. Easy Fudd just inside the three-point arc. Chappelle answers with a three. She's going to be a really good player. They're excited about her. Villanova played some tight games with UConn during the regular season. So did Creighton. In fact, in the last meeting between UConn and Creighton, it was a 3-point game, with UConn edging the Jays.
On that road game for Creighton, probably Creighton could have easily won that game. Big applause for Dorka Juhasz from the Husky faithful. What an afternoon for her.
14 points, 11 rebounds. You heard Gino Ariema at the halftime break talking with our Megan Caffrey. He said the first half is probably the best half of basketball I've seen Dorka play in a UConn uniform.
I'm interested to hear his thoughts after this game. As you and I have been talking about, I mean, to me, this looks like the best UConn has played since early in the non-conference when they were beating Texas, beating NC State. They had the full compilation of players. They've just looked so on point today.
Betancourt from downtown.
How about the bench? Is running with the reserve groups right now.
Got to get her a little extra clock, right? Get her feet under her. Playing in just her second game since January the 15th. We've talked a good amount about UConn's defense in this game. And that was, they've done it just once in the last couple of months. And that was all the way back in December.
Been on the attack. They've gotten the balance inside out. Today they just look like a team with the mental fortitude.
Marquette has held 7 of its last 8 opponents under 60. Had a really hard-fought battle against the top-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks, still undefeated. You could look to that game and say, well, UConn had chances to win in that game, and many UConn fans feel like they probably should have, as Karlen buries a 3. But when this team's playing well, they've shown they can compete with the best in the country.
Yeah, today I'm seeing a team that, why can't this team go back to the Final Four, the national championship game? Maybe win it. For UConn. Something that has been done just once against this Marquette team in the last couple of months. DePaul scored 80 in the regular season finale. You got to go all the way back to the beginning of December when Seton Hall did it. And UConn is headed back to the Big East tournament final. Consecutive conference tournament wins for the UConn Huskies. And they are headed to their 12th straight tournament championship game.